By being short and sweet, Schitt's Creek has dodged the bullet of extending the plot too far and losing touch with the beginning of the character arc. Every time I go back to the first season, each character looks like a completely different person. It's the story of a family where the members build their lives completely around their seemingly inexhaustible wealth and find themselves lost when the money is taken out of the equation. We all remember the bittersweet ending of the show with David's marriage and the Roses taking off for a new future and Moira's headgear. So here is an analysis of the ending of each character and how it fits in their stories. Number 1, Alexis Rose. One of my favorite character arcs in any show has been that of Alexis Rose. We all know she went from a selfish and spoiled brat to a person who discovered her value and purpose in life. Alexis's story ended with her discovering her worth in the field of public relations and moving to New York to explore more in her career. Her love story, which was another subplot in her life, did not get a happy end, but it was still the right end. When we look at her past, she had a serious case of wanderlust. She was adventurous and went wherever life took her and ended up in the craziest situations. However, she did not have a purpose all this while. She was not in control over her life. She was actually lost, like the plastic bag in Katy Perry's song. Also, when it comes to her love life, she was very shallow and just stomped on people's hearts without regret or thinking twice. In Schitt's Creek, she does the same to Ted. But when she has had the most mature breakup of her life with Mutt, she grows a little. Finding out that she still wants Ted but he doesn't want her back is another blow to her heart and makes her sensitive to the pain of other people and herself. And finally, after falling in love with Ted only to lose him again, she gets the choice to go back to being the old Alexis and move to a different place with a guy. Only this time it will cost her something that she had built on her own. So she knows that she has to let Ted go to set both of them free to chase their dreams. She moves out of Schitt's Creek because, as mentioned earlier, she is not someone who can settle. She always was and will be a traveler. Only this time, without ample money to fall back on, she will not be lost and will travel with a purpose. Number 2, David Rose. David was the most relatable character to me. He was unconventional and it was clear that he had a tough life. There is nothing wrong with David, but there is everything wrong with our society. In the first season, David is having a very hard time adjusting to the town and the new lifestyle that is thrown at him. He is often seen as the person who doesn't want to be around people, is very uptight about his things staying a certain way, and panics over little things. He has these walls built around him and openly accepts that he is a dysfunctional person. David's story ends with him finding the love of his life, and that is basically all he ever wanted, to be loved. At the end of the show, he gets a conventional, loving husband, a beautiful house in the suburbs, and a normal future ahead of him. He finds a friend like Stevie who enjoys his quirks and stands by him every time. This scene where David tells Stevie that he wants the people in New York to know that he's not a loser.
Why do you want to go back to a place that's done nothing but hurt your feelings?
Because I want those people to know that I'm not a joke. And that I've won.
David, look at this place. You won.
In this scene, we get an insight into what his life used to be. He thought that he would win only when the world saw his happy life. But he didn't need that. His happy ending was to show and accept himself as a winner and a normal guy who can find acceptance in this crazy world. Number 3, Johnny. He was the character who deserved our sympathy the most. It was not fair to him to lose everything he had built from scratch and on top of it, have it taken away by a man whom he considered family. However, he is the character who complains the least. He is the rock of his family, which consists of his bratty kids and a ticking bomb wife. In the episode The Pitch, we expect him to close the deal with the rich investors because that would mean that he can get closer to his old life. However, that does not happen because that's not Johnny Rose. He is not about the wealth and the luxury. That was just an added bonus that he was proud of. The fruit of the garden that he grew. His happiness, though, lies in growing that garden. In the end, he gets to build that empire again. Unlike Moira, Johnny never gives up on his work. He never wanted to get all the money back. Well, that wasn't all he wanted. All he wanted was to be Johnny Rose again. Number 4, Moira. Characters that think they are too good for the people around them can easily become unlikable. But in Moira's case, Catherine O'Hara and the writers have done such a brilliant job in making her personality so different and one of a kind that Moira ends up stealing the show more often. She has a heightened sense of self importance. While she grew up in an environment no better than Schitt's Creek, she refuses to go back to that part of her life. Or maybe she just can't. Moira doesn't adjust to the level of Schitt's Creek. Instead, she raises Schitt's Creek to her level in everything she does, be it her job as the town councillor, the Jazzagals, or Cabaret the musical. The writers often used costumes as a way of conveying emotions or establishing a character. Moira's style and personality is unique and supreme, and always will be. I mean, she officiated her son's wedding dressed as a pope. It's just her right after God. Just like Johnny, she had started from the bottom. She does not accept Schitt's Creek till the end of the show, although it does change her life a lot and for the good, but she does not accept that to herself. In the end, she gets her spotlight back. But her experience in Schitt's Creek teaches her to share the spotlight more often with the people in her life, so that she can see them a little better. I try to avoid the usual they learn to live beyond their superficial life conversation because that's an obvious point that the show makes. I, as a writer, marveled at the characters, among other things. A lot of time was put into writing the backstories of these characters, and it shows. While Eugene and Daniel Levy did an excellent job writing this show, Catherine O'Hara and Annie Murphy played around with their characters and did an equally brilliant job working on themselves, from their accents to their personalities.